Hey, deserving listeners, sister wives. My name is Dr. Kirk Honda. I'm a therapist and a professor. This is the Psychology in Seattle YouTube channel. And I want to remind everyone that everything I say is completely speculative based on what they deem to show us in the edit. Let's watch.
Did you and Cody ever have an honest conversation about the catfishing?
I thought that we did, and I thought that he knew where I was coming from, you know, like how that...
So here's my speculation on this phase, is that on one hand, he was deeply hurt, as anyone would be, but he has a really hard time with any vulnerability. I am getting the impression that he was raised that way, modeled that or something, because he seems to deny any, you know, when it all went down, he was very cool about it. Now, the other speculation that I said is that he wasn't really in love with Mary and didn't care, might have even thought of it as a helpful excuse to really distance himself from Mary. But there's no reason to go that far, I think. Was he pulling away from her to some extent? Yeah, I think probably. Plus, just having 4 wives and spreading yourself that thin, it's hard. And maybe he was willing to do it in the beginning, but I think as time went on, maybe not. Anyway, so he, I think, was very hurt, but buried the feelings. And still, you know, so when she's like, I thought we talked about it. Yeah, he might have absolutely presented to her that he was cool, you know, for the most part, but he was not even acknowledging to himself how hurt he was. I think there's a strong possibility of that. Another possibility is even, you know, in conjunction with this or in lieu of it, of that he fell out of love with Mary a long time ago and doesn't really care and is, you know, not really affected by it, and maybe bringing it up now as a way to like continue to distance himself from her. I don't know.
Knew where I was coming from, you know, like how that all happened and what happened.
Well, he thought you were leaving him for another person.
Right, he did. Yeah. And
so he
I
felt
knew,
betrayed right there.
Absolutely, and I get that. I wasn't leaving, but during that time.
Yeah, so I specialize in infidelity recovery. I won't go into all the details because it's complicated and there's a lot I can say about this, but the way that it looks, neither one of them did what they needed to do to recover from the infidelity, which is common. A lot of times people just sweep it under the rug or they break up, even though there's potential for them to not only recover, but make their relationship even stronger than it was before. But they both have to want to do it. It's unclear if either one of them wanted to, I think particularly Cody. I don't know if Mary knows what she wants, honestly, so I don't know if she can even answer that question. Who knows? Maybe even him too. There's a version of this story that Cody actually also does not know what he wants and just goes along with what he thinks is supposed to be expected, what he thinks is expected of him. You could even argue that, I've never thought about this, that polygamy could be a way of avoiding looking inward because you don't have time, right? So, and there's a script, there's a protocol, and plus all the kids, right? And there's a version of the story where that actually was facilitated or helped by the fact that there were so many young children in the beginning, and maybe this is a common thing for a lot of polygamists, I don't know. And now that there's far fewer young kids that are occupying all their time, then now everyone has to look at themselves. Mary and Cody in particular might have to do that. Anyway, yeah, what did she just say?
Right, he did. Yeah. And
so he
I
felt
knew,
betrayed right there.
Absolutely, and I get that.
Right. So and Mary's being cool about it, which is great. She's not denying it or anything. She's not blaming him. But the way that it sounds is that, so I would be much more encouraged regarding them having recovered from infidelity. Even if they decided to break up, it would help both of them if they were to go through that. There's a lot of things that could happen therapeutically through that recovery, Mary would have to know who she is, what she wants a little bit more, because to answer the question, why did you do it in the first place, is an investigation of that sort, right? And for Cody, there's a possibility that even if he doesn't rekindle the warmth and the togetherness that he used to have with Mary, if he doesn't recover, it could affect his other relationships, right? His trust or something, and just people in general. I don't know. So there's that. But yeah, so what I would be encouraged by is if I heard that they had engaged in a specialized form of couple therapy that involves itself in infidelity recovery, and they had a lot of conversations, and Cody was able to get to the core of his pain, and all this depends on him even being hurt by it, which there's a possibility that he wasn't. I would put money down that he was deeply hurt by it, and as would be expected in any situation, right? I think it's tempting to think that Cody was not hurt by it because, one, the way he presents, which I think is indicative of avoidant attachment. It's weird to think about someone being avoidantly attached and having 4 wives, but it's one of the ways you could avoid, right? Absolutely. I hadn't even thought about that. But so it's tempting to believe that he wasn't hurt because potentially of, I don't know what his attachment style is, but if he was avoidant, those individuals, not only to others, but even to themselves, they believe that they don't really get affected by things like this when they are deeply affected by it. So there's that, but also that he just has a style, maybe due to masculinity, toxic masculinity, that he just doesn't exhibit his emotions. And so it's tempting to conclude that he doesn't care, either because he doesn't care about Mary or because he's shallow or that he's unaffected by those kinds of things. And, the kind of litmus test or the test maybe for bias in this situation or being tricked by someone who might have avoidant attachment is to just put yourself in their shoes. How would you feel if your current partner that you love and adore were to do what Mary did? I mean, just really imagine if you found out midstream that they were having this ongoing relationship with someone online in which, and they were planning on running away and they were in love. And the whole time, this other person and Mary are talking about how shitty of a person you are, because that, I think, is what was happening, right? Just imagine how much that would hurt. Just imagine how much that, and the fact that it was public. Public. I hadn't even thought about that. That for him, and that's another whole other part of this, of course, which is always involved in reality TV, is that we can't conceptualize these individuals in isolation. We have to incorporate society and the public discourse around these people, because the show doesn't highlight this almost ever, but I get the impression that especially Mary is involved. I don't know where online. Usually I just think of Reddit because that's where I go for all my doom scrolling. I don't look at Twitter ever. I don't scroll Instagram really. I certainly don't look at Facebook anymore. What other websites are there? I look at YouTube and Reddit. That's it. I don't go TikTok. For whatever reason, TikTok just doesn't. TikTok, it feels less tailored. Like I can't just peruse, the way I can on YouTube Shorts. I don't like things just being fed to me. I want to have personal choice, and of course the feed of what to, anyway. So for conceptualization to be incorporating all the elements, we have to consider that. And so for him, Cody, to be humiliated like that, that's an additional layer of hurt, right? It's one thing to be cheated on. It's another thing to be cheated on in a public space, right? It can be particularly betraying. So I don't know. Maybe he isn't affected by it. Maybe he's even just kind of cool with it because he's developmentally more of a polyamorous individual and just less prone to insecurity and jealousy. I mean, it would fit with this lifestyle, but there's no reason to believe. And plus, people oriented towards polyamory absolutely can be hurt by infidelity. It's not that they don't get hurt by it. It's just that they're open to multiple loves. They still don't like being betrayed. But anyway.
I wasn't leaving, but during that time,
Oh, that's what, sorry, I'm going to stop yammering. But she says, I wasn't leaving. Well, then why were you talking about leaving? You even told the family, not only that you were leaving, but you would just disappear one day. You wouldn't even tell anybody about it. And apparently, according to the receipts that I think people were looking at, that she was absolutely making plans to run away with this guy. So just to say that, it shows that she hasn't reckoned with what she did. I think because of the ending of the relationship is really burnt in her mind because it was abusive and harmful, maybe even criminal because of the threats. I don't know. And it's hard for her to remember that middle phase. I don't know. But also, I think she is just so ashamed that she just doesn't want, which is really common. When people, almost universally, when people cheat, they, even in their own mind, will minimize what they did and just say, well, what was the big deal? And it was just this little thing. And then you get your hands on the communication or you get the full breadth of the story. It's like, that was not a little thing. So it's normal. So that indicates to me that there's a possibility that she is just, if one could say there's various different phases of recovery, even for the cheating partner. And she, even months later, years later, is in that very initial phase after getting out of the infidelity and hasn't even accepted what she had done. This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. And if you sign up, please use the link below because it helps us out. So just recently, therapy has become somewhat mainstream. People in my field, including me, have been advocating for this for decades, so it's nice to see. But there's still progress to be made. For example, a recent study found that 26% of Americans are avoiding therapy, even though they might need it, due to a fear of judgment. This is Mental Health Awareness Month, so let's try to change that by encouraging everyone to get the help that they need. As I always say, take care of yourself, and what better way to take care of yourself than to get the therapy that you need? Well, a good option to find a therapist is at BetterHelp. If you're thinking of starting therapy, it's definitely worth giving a try. They have over 30,000 therapists with a wide variety of styles, and BetterHelp makes it a lot easier to shop around because you can easily switch therapists if you need to. So, we're all better with help. Visit betterhelp.com/Kirk to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/Kirk.
Because I was very much in a dark place. I considered all my options just because I was trying to figure out what I needed to do.
But I feel like Cody took it like that.
Oh, he definitely did. Did I start talking to this person? Absolutely, I did. Did I think that I was talking to a friend? Absolutely. It literally was not just, okay, well, I'm going to meet some dude online and fall in love.
Yeah, and I haven't seen the receipts or anything, but that dichotomy that she is drawing is just two options, right? She's saying, did I meet a friend? Yeah. Was I going online to run away with someone? No. Well, there's a lot of other options, which is you were looking for a friend and you found a friend and then it grew into something else and you didn't intend on it happening. That's another thing that cheating partners will do. So it's like, I didn't mean it, the way that they phrase it. It's like, it was a mistake. It was an accident. And it's never an accident. It's never just, oops. It's always thousands of little decisions that the individual made. I mean, even just the decision to go online and start communicating with people, there's a possibility that there was a seed of infidelity hope deep inside of her, whether she was aware of it or not. But at the very least, once it started to turn a corner, the very first time that the guy, the catfisher, complimented how attractive she was, it's not even a stretch to say, no, it's not infidelity, but every little decision, and it's probable, given that Mariah describes it as a whole summer of her not only doing that, but also Mariah noticing it and saying, what are you doing? You're being catfished. It was probably thousands of decisions that she was, so it wasn't just those two options.
Want to leave my family. A lot of people.
And I want to be clear, I do not condemn Mary. It happens. I think Mary is a very sympathetic character. I think I said a long time ago that the one person that I feel like I identify with in this whole family would be Mary. After the whole way she reacted to Mariah, I'm just like, no longer in that camp. But at the very least, I'm not saying all this to condemn her or to berate her or to shame her. No. But at the very least for yourself, when you commit infidelity, when you cheat, even if it's mild cheating, even if no one finds out, fully reckoning with the reality of those thousands of decisions that you have made will benefit you. There's a reason why it happened. Either you weren't asserting yourself or your relationship isn't going well, or sometimes it's masochistic. People hate themselves because of the way they've been treated, or they're searching for something or whatever. Grass is greener. There's a lot of things. There's always suffering that is foundational to infidelity, and so she deserves to explore that.
Like to look at that as the defining moment in the fracture in mine and Cody's relationship. And it wasn't.
Did he say, I have an issue of trust with you now as a result of it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Coming up.
Okay. Yeah. It's just hard. It's really hard to know. And maybe we'll find out. And maybe that's what everyone is telling me about. It's like, wait till the later seasons that maybe Cody is more disclosing about how he feels about things. But he just doesn't, I think, know how he feels. At the very least, he doesn't show, I think, to anyone, and particularly to the camera. I think he's particularly careful, as anyone would be, about what they show to the camera. But I think he, from the way his wives talk, I think he even is blunted or is obscure. He obscures his emotions and his feelings and his inner life to them.
That was something that...
I wondered the same thing.
Yeah.
There was totally a lot of lost time. There was like, why isn't this being talked about?
Did you ever want to shake Cody? You were around him the whole time. I don't understand.
Oh, man, he was such a grump.
But I don't understand. You were with him the majority of the time.
Believe me, I was sane. And all I would get back from him is they won't do it. Janelle won't do it.
Okay, that's interesting. And it is a good question. And I like this interviewer. I haven't caught her name. I think I saw it on a title, but I forget it. But I like her style. I don't know if the one-on-one nature of it actually helps. Also, they don't do all the kind of silly stuff that 90 Day Fiancé will do, where they'll try to drum up drama, even in the green room, that sort of thing. It's just these interviews. And of course, we're seeing edited versions, so there's probably a lot of uninteresting bits, but it's this ability to really go deeper than I think we would ever see on 90 Day Fiancé or Love is Blind anyway. So there's that. The problem is that the adults, which is fine, they edit themselves, which is fine. But if we're going to get answers, then I think this interviewer actually sets it up so that those things can happen. I'm going to take a guess and say that everyone hates this interviewer because everyone hates all the hosts on these shows. It's the same. I say this every time. It's the same in football, American football, NFL. Everyone I know hates the hosts. Joe Buck and Tony Romo and now Tom Brady and all these guys. And I'm always like, I'm neutral, positive on all of them. I think they're all either just fine or they're good. I like Tony Romo. Anyway, so with this question, we're now hearing that Robin is saying he was such a grump. And we're also hearing that she was trying to get him to work things out, or he was, anyway. But yeah, that was interesting that the COVID rules, they're pretty elaborate. And I've been over this already in terms of everyone was free to make a decision about how many precautions they wanted to take, depending. And under normal circumstances, you wouldn't have to coordinate so many families and so many households. So every household could just have their own boundaries, and that would be that. But since they're all trying to work together, it was really, really logistically hard and would potentially necessitate not seeing each other. But at the same time, Cody could have easily put more effort. I mean, I've been over this already, but he could have easily, at the very least, talked to the kids on the phone or video conference, or just went and hung out with them, went for a walk, social distance, or throwing the ball around or something. It's just, there's something that he could have done. And it seems he didn't, not only did he not do anything like that, he didn't even call them. He didn't even reach out to his own kids, it's, ugh. So it's upsetting. But we're hearing, we saw that he presented the rules, and it seemed new to Janelle and Christine. They're like, I didn't know. Wow, this is pretty involved. So that, points in the direction that not only was Cody having very strict rules, again, which is fine, but he wasn't even putting in the effort to explain it, because that was a huge point of contention between him and the other sister wives was, you got to respect me and follow the rules. And then we learn months into it, he didn't even really tell them the rules. He was just saying, well, you're doing that, so that's against the rules. And you could see how that would be very confusing. So we're also hearing from Robin that he was very grumpy, because, the narrative is that Robin stole him and manipulated him, or he, centered or, put Robin on this pedestal and discarded all the other ones. I don't know. But another narrative is that all the sister wives are suffering under his behavior. Robin is just getting it in person, whereas everyone else is getting a cold shoulder. Robin is experiencing it firsthand, the grumpiness and the anger. And I don't know. There's also a possibility that Robin is just saying this because she knows everyone hates her, because she is in conversation with the online. And I don't know, but I'm guessing that people think of her as this newcomer to the family. I don't know. But there's a possibility that she has it pretty good and is just saying this to get sympathy or to have, camaraderie with her sister wives or something. All right, well, let's adjourn there. I thought I would open some fan mail packaging here. There's a package, and it's by someone named Dej, I think is the way it's pronounced, and I'm opening it now. And there's some coffee here, which is nice. And then there's a card that I will read later, because I don't want to waste your time right now. So I'll definitely read this. And if you want to send us anything, you can send it to the address that is listed, maybe in the description, but definitely on our website on the bottom of the first page. And so thanks, Dej. I will enjoy this. And, well, I might as well open the card while it says, thank you. It says, you mentioned drinking Starbucks Via on YouTube Live a while back. Wanted to send you one since I work at Starbucks as an accountant. I hope this is okay that I won't read the rest, but well, that's nice of you. Yeah, I Seattle, and I got used to Starbucks coffee way back when, and yeah, especially Via, because it's strong. I like it strong. That sounded. Let's move on. Take care of yourself, because you deserve it. You really, really do.